But the one thing you really miss when playing Irelia now is that it's not so snappy with the E, because they standardized the delay on activating your E. So previously, everybody, when you play Irelia, you can just cast on yourself for these insta-stuns. Feels like the opponent can't dodge it, right? Now, you do look for more either slows or setups from your teammate, things to guarantee to make sure you're going to hit your E, because it isn't so guaranteed. With the 0.25 second delay there, gives a little bit more counterplay to the opponents. However, you get some more, beefiness for it in exchange.
Yeah.
And the W works wonders versus magic damage too.
Yeah, the W being buffed up to be a very powerful defensive tool, as well as the damage on it being increased to the point where it's effectively clearing waves too.
Baby, and it's with the LeBlanc flowers.
Yeah, you know what these two do in the mid lane. An absolute two-man wrecking crew between these two champions. Over on the other side, though, it's all about the Moon. Aphelios and Diana locked in for TSM.
This is looking like FlyQuest, New Kids on the Block, want to create a ruckus, Flowers.
I love it.
They want some early plays, some aggressive plays. When you have LeBlanc and Lee Sin locked in as your mid-jungle, if you are not making plays, if you're not pressuring opponents in lane, in mid, in the jungle, going for invades, going for deeper wards onto camps so you can track them and take away their resources, then you are doing it wrong, okay? Because that's not great scaling. That is great proactive early game for you. And with Irelia on top of it there for the top lane, I expect FlyQuest to be the ones throwing out the early plays versus TSM's trying to answer them. Diana definitely going to have to scale a bit more for the jungle. You can see they're banning away some of the bottom lane priority here as FlyQuest have fully locked in their top triangle, so no surprise there. They do take the Ziggs off the table. Maybe something like the Varus will follow up suit there. FlyQuest trying to take off some SwordArt champions here with the early. Oh, excuse me. First ban comes in for top side. Answer to Irelia instead.
Right, and the Rise is locked in here for TSM, and granted, this can flex between solo lanes. We do see it often in mid, but Rise mid against LeBlanc and Lee Sin is a very, very vulnerable target, right? We know how effective these two are at 2v2 and quickly bursting down a target. Rise doesn't have a way to avoid that. He doesn't have any aggro drop. He doesn't have any iframes. He's just there.
Yeah, so previously what Rise will try and do is try and W and pop his extra move speed with his phase rush, but phase rush got nerfed a bit, and if you get the all-in from LeBlanc early and you close your distance with your W, then you still set up for Lee Sin. So PowerOfEvil is going to have a little bit more difficult of a job trying to do that. Plus, they kind of double up on AP threats. Usually when you have Diana, ideally you get her as the main AP threat so that your opponents don't build magic resistance, but guess what? Magic resistance will be plentiful there towards the mid-jungle duo as they've kind of locked in heavily. TSM, one of Huni's favorites though, the Nocturne, does actually help too in kind of trying to delay in some of the objective trades early on if your opponents are showing some super strong early game proactivity. The ultimate can be used, the cover of darkness, to disengage as well as engage. You don't always have to take it as a missile straight into the backline, my friend.
And you like this if you're a TSM fan because this is a champion that Huni likes to play, because it's one he's found success on. Second half of the bans for FlyQuest, we're totally focused on him with the Renekton and the Gangplank being banned away, so him still being able to find that comfort feels good. Over on the other side, FlyQuest round out their draft with Xayah and Rakan as their bottom lane.
All right, so we were right with the Ziggs Varus ban, but the Lovers duo I feel like is so underestimated. That priority double pick in for the FlyQuest Academy is Xayah very good into the Diana and Nocturne dive. See if Tomo's going to be able to be that consistent threat with so many flanking frontliners there for him, so many champions looking for picks for engages for FlyQuest and a lot of skirmishes. It's important to get an AD carry that's got some sort of appeal for themselves.
And talking about that, it's worth pointing out that although TSM does have Aphelios, who's considered one of the good hyper carries these days, he's often drafted with some protection, like Thresh, right? There's not a lot of protection here on the TSM composition for that Aphelios. Rel, as the support, wants to go in, not hang back.
Yeah, there's not a lot of protection on either side, so I think we're going to get what we want.
Oh, I love those kinds of games,
true bloodbath, a crash of powers here, where Aphelios, it's interesting, too, that you mentioned it, because I really do like the new builds that have focused on the lethality. You got the lethality buff from the passive previously, but we saw Danny really championing the the execution build there with the collector coming in right second. And if you go heavy on lethality, then the extra AP doesn't matter so much.
All right, let's get into game, baby. It's FlyQuest and TSM about to hit the rift.
Is it a summer rave or is it a summer LCS game, Flowers? Let's
go!
go!
Baby, let's do it. I do love the light show. Makes you feel alive again. That's the kind of experience you don't get doing this over voice comms in your bedroom.
Oh, and they're starting the party early, too, my friend. FlyQuest, they're all arriving at 7 sharp here, running straight into the jungle of TSM.
Okay, Lost sees it. He gets himself back, so FlyQuest aren't going to get the chance to pop any summoner spells here early, get any damage onto Lost. They'll just back away. But hey, I like the fact that they went for it, right? That's kind of what we've been seeing out of this new FlyQuest. They feel invigorated, they feel motivated, and they feel like they're always looking for a chance to make something happen.
And it makes sense with the team comps. That's what I always want to draw it back to for your level ones. You're playing versus Diana, gonna go for highest probability is a full clear for Spica, so by invading deep on bottom side, getting that ward on blue/Gromp, you get to for sure know Spica starting top side of the map. Kumo, you have your 1v1 with the Nocturne, who by the way on this patch is heavily nerfed for lane Nocturne.
Right.
Your passive is reduced 50%, which is hitting your sustain as well as your shove in this lane, and being most matchups previously for Nocturne, you could easily just wash it out as, yo, Nocturne's got the push. Guess what?
Not
surprise,
now.
surprise. What's he versus? Don't really care that much. But Huni making an early aggressive position here up through the minions to still get priority over the minion wave, still get the push versus the Irelia early on. Remember, Irelia was buffed in beefiness, but it's a lot in the scaling too. So the first few levels, going to have to play still a little bit cautiously. We also saw on display some of the things we talked about in Champ Select where there's a delay on the E now standardized, and so it's a lot easier to dodge there, especially since Nocturne gets extra move speed on the Q trail from the passive move speed that you get.
And also, as bottom lane gets into a little bit of a scrap down here, shouldn't really be anything too big. With that E delay being standardized, it is now much easier for Nocturne players to be able to spell shield that, right? You can throw that shield up, block the stun coming through on that, and just be able to defend yourself much better, much more readily. And a reminder for everybody out there, for a Spanish language stream of the LCS, check out LCS in Vivo over at twitch.tv/FlyQuest. They do a whole bunch of the games, but for their own, you know that they're going to bring a little bit of extra hype and spice, so go ahead, give them a look, see if you like what you see. And right now, we're going to see if we like what we see back up here in this top lane. Kumo and Huni just continuing to farm it out.
I want to call out the display here from Huni, because he knows that FlyQuest knows via the deep ward on the 5-person invade bottom side that his jungler is starting top and full clear into bottom. He's got a Diana jungle, and Diana's jungle starting is known, so Huni knows he cannot push past that bounce on the third wave. He has to just wait in the brush, let Kumo push the wave back to him because he's got no jungle attention and his opponents know about it. It's very important to know what information your opponents are working with so you can play accordingly there. You know, in the past, Huni has been talked about so much for being a target of early ganks because of the aggressive way that he liked to play a lot of matchups. But you just cannot ignore the extra information your opponents are working with, and he plays accordingly around it. This time, just going to be the opposite side of the maps traded here from both junglers, both finishing on Scuttle Crabs and syncing up the recalls.
It's not just a matter of what I know, it's a matter of what I know about what you know that really constructs the entire thing, right? That informs all those decisions and makes it so that we see some careful decision-making like that from Huni up there in the top side, still maintaining that even farm with Kumo. TSM has a couple hundred gold lead here early on, but oftentimes these early gold leads are just based on which wave hasn't been caught yet, if a big one's pushing towards one turret or the other. So very even game state that we've got here nice and early on. You'll see both the junglers have gone back for their first purchases. Kindle Gem over for NXI, while a more offensive option from Spica with a double amplifying tome to make sure that when he does go for those ganks, they hurt.
And there you go, too. We saw the other thing we were talking about in Champ Select. PoE just roots him up and casts his extra combo for the phase rush proc on the rise as Triple goes in with the LeBlanc. Triple now trying to get the W on the minion wave, too. But again, PoE fights him off. Early clicking on the corrupting potion is pretty key for these exchanges here, too. As you see, the corrupting potion for Triple now out of charges, and PoE can just focus on the minion wave, try and push this in for the reset.
Okay, NXI has made his way here. Triple goes in, but Triple's about to be in a bad spot. PowerOfEvil likely to die in the follow-up. First blood over to the Diana, but now the follow-up is there from NXI. So both our junglers get on the board nice and early. Kumo's trying to deal with Huni up here in the 1v1 top side. There's that spell shield I'm talking about, and there's your solo kill for TSM's top lane.
Yes, sir. Huni's waiting for that one with the spell shield. Easily gets the timing on the E activation there from Kumo, but mid lane, Triple flashes in, misses the chain initially here. He's probably going to die afterwards anyway, but feels bad in the case. Still a 1-for-1 as NXI is able to finish it off, and the junglers are the ones that get paid. But here it is, Huni on his Nocturne. He was one of the earliest adopters in the LCS. As you call out, easy activation on the spell shield.
And it's a four-man dive here in bottom lane. Goodbye to Tomo. Diamond stays alive. SwordArt doing the same, getting away from the turret aggro. And although Kumo teleports down to stop them from staying around for the second kill, he will not get one in return.
Yeah, he arrives, and there's nothing to do but clean up the minion wave again. The "it's okay" emote flashed up from FlyQuest because it is not okay, Flowers.
No, it is not.
Everything is turning around against them, and a lot of it is off of the side lane play. Huni, really nice use of his Nocturne counter pick here into the new Irelia after the mini rework, basically. Getting that solo kill onto Kumo in the top side, changing flash for flash, diving under the turret, but really big heal from Lost on the bottom side play as well to make sure that TSM don't give over anybody in the dive and give any extra money back to FlyQuest. Is going so well for TSM, considering they're the ones. Yeah, we love early money on Diana with Spica getting the first blood, actually very critical there, having one of the most important, if not the most important member of TSM recently, getting the early influx of gold, plus then having a Nocturne get early acceleration as far as his fighting capabilities, because Huni's got his ultimate now. So if your jungler and your Nocturne are the two getting the early kills, guess what? Have them play together, and they're going to be able to pick people off.
And you can see there, Huni winning out in the trade against Kumo. Notice the skill order on the bottom left part of your screen right about now. Kumo is maxing that W first, which is what you're seeing from a lot of Irelia play after this mini rework, just because of how good it is in multiple situations. But it's not good enough to get you away from that. TSM, pick up another one.
What do you know, Flowers? The Nocturne and the Diana get paid, and they immediately want to link up again. Kumo's got no flash, so Kumo's got no life, and that's going to be a reward of a turret plate on top of it, too. They're snowballing this really well, playing off of their winning half of the map. Also having set up the bottom side with the Aphelios Rel pre-6 with the early focus from the transition down to the bottom side and pulling off that dive. It's really in the hands here for TSM for the early game. My only question is really how they balance the map, because I actually put way more weight on the first Rift Herald than on Dragon stacking with this type of comp early on.
Okay.
And I'd rather have them use their bottom side timer for the extra gold and pushing on the tower health early on so that you can actually get more territory to work with Nocturne Ultimate and find those picks and those dives. You've got Ryze in the mid lane, which can join out on some of these. If you get that early advantage as far as destroying structures plus the early gold, you can really press it ahead for a much quicker and cleaner victory.
And you can see SwordArt rotating up to mid, helping that get shoved out, just making sure PowerOfEvil wasn't in any danger with that wave in an extended position. Lots of TSM vision in the enemy jungle now as well. You can see a couple of different wards here in this bottom side jungle, one next to the Raptor Pit with this deeper control ward here that'll also keep an eye on this juncture between Red and the Krugs as Tomo falls back to clear out those Krugs, just waiting for Lost to shove up that wave.
They're giving this up. Look at the map here. The TSM made the call to give this up, and they're sending SwordArt down to look for the dive, as well as have PoE hover over. He's picking up blue right now, and they're just zoning Tomo down. He's got his level 6 ultimate, so the dive would be delayed and kind of risky to pull off. Instead, just pick up.
All right, they're ready to go. They get the ulti out of the Xayah, and that'll be good enough. They cannot make the dive happen afterwards, so SwordArt just disengages.
Effective use of the time there, getting the cooldown now. You know, you can easily just finish out on that turret play, transition over to Dragon. I think that FlyQuest kind of recognized what we were talking about earlier and how it would be so devastating if TSM did get that early Rift Herald, so they committed the early transition with Diamond heading up there, focusing on burning down this Rift Herald. They have it in hand now. So NXI has Rift Herald at will, and the cost that they're giving up is Tomo's ultimate, plus the Dragon on bottom side and an extra turret play.
And TSM's choices have been really good for their early gold lead, right? It's 10 minutes into the game. You're seeing a 3K lead almost for the side of TSM at this point. That is substantial this early on in the game. With that first Drake already in their pocket, 2 feels good. 2-0-1 on the Diana. Highest kills in the game thus far. And Spica is definitely the kind of dude to be able to pop off and accelerate things.
Oh, he definitely has been. That young North American talent, Flowers, coming from the jungle. Spica's been on display in so many of the TSM wins. Big reason why they are still up there at the top of the standings. Meanwhile, SwordArt doing his part, transitioning over, getting up his defensive vision for this side of the map, since FlyQuest and NXI are looking to create a play to try and capitalize on the Rift Herald. When you get the early Rift Herald, you're then immediately looking for which one of these lanes can we get a successful gank on and get extreme value out of this Rift Herald rather than just chipping off 2 outer plates.
Right.
And,
that's minimum value. We don't want minimum value.
Yeah. We're going for the high roll here.
It's like a lightning spell in an ARPG. It's got a 1 as the minimum value, but then the upper limit's like 8,000.
And we did see the 1 roll in the previous game where Rift Herald just pops out and immediately killed by your opponent team.
That's a 1.
It's a negative 25 gold. Because
that's unlucky.
Just give it over. It's a new spell here we got, Flowers. You can go from negative 25
to 8,000.
To 8,000.
It's great. It's fantastic. FlyQuest pushing up this bottom wave here, getting some pressure on the Tier 1 turret in bottom lane, controlling the bottom side river as well. Nothing to fight for, though. Dragon's not alive for another 3 minutes, and the Scuttle Crab spawned on the other end of the map, so not really any reason to be super concerned with this control right now.
I was about to ask you if you are a lightning type spell user investing heavily in RNG, or if you're a more consistent spell user, but then I was like, well, he's actually just a strength user. Doesn't use spells a lot. So
hey, I played Chain Lightning Frozen Orb Sork back in Diablo 2.
Okay,
I am fully aware, which was a game where all lightning damage was 1 to X in pretty much every situation. I'm very familiar with lightning RNG.
Diablo is definitely the early proponent of that style. Triple actually uses the R for the second chain to try and lock in PoE here.
Okay.
Good dodge, though.
Yeah, nice sidestep away from the Sonic Wave means PowerOfEvil is able to stay safe from that follow-up. He will now rotate up to this top lane here once more. He knows he has backup. Spica right next to him. PowerOfEvil eating the honey fruits just so FlyQuest don't feel confident in this. Kumo is down 2 levels, 24 CS, and is just completely zoned away as Huni crashes another wave into the turret.
Yeah, and now you see the rotation back actually being made a little bit quicker. Rise used his ultimate just to make it instant instead. You bypass the guards at the bridge. They ask you to pay the toll to get back to mid lane of the extra minions.
You roll sneak. It worked.
Feels like, what toll? I don't pay tolls. Get out of my face. We're straight back to those minions.
Easy stuff there for TSM, who are also building up a nice amount of gold for their 80 carry here in the bottom lane. 20 CS lead for Lost over Tomo, as well as having knocked down most of those plates. TSM's doing a good job of maintaining this economic advantage they've got for themselves. Mythic items up and running on both junglers, as well as the TSM top laner and the FlyQuest mid. So we'll see if that ends up having an impact here on any fight. Still over a minute until the Drake spawns, and I still don't think we're likely to see a fight over this one.
Yeah, the problem is that FlyQuest came in with kind of a mandate to make some jungle mid plays, and it was fumbled so early in both of the side lanes with the Huni 1v1 as well as the bottom lane dive from TSM that they lost out on that possibility of creating their own early lead for themselves. And if this is the team that's playing catch up, then they don't really have the authority to go for the invades and go for those deeper setups. And TSM now are the ones, you see SwordArt back and forth across this map, just trying to keep up the vision because he knows with the early play that they made, as long as they can just keep it up, 30 seconds here left on the Mountain Drake, they should be able to fight them off. Now, Huni's got teleport, and again, 2-level lead over Kumo up there. Huni is just smashing alone in the 1v1 with no jungle intervention, save for, the second gank there. That was easily executed. But we're looking at him, early activation of the Nocturne ultimate to deny the Kumo TP and allow him to join.
Oh, and the flash away as Kumo goes for the ulti. So Huni escapes the aggro on that one, avoids that bad situation, and now still has his own ulti ready to use, but of course, no flash.
FlyQuest are sweating flowers. They're giving up another dragon here to TSM. They load everybody up onto the top side of the map. They can't get their kill onto Huni, and it's going to give solo tower gold over to the Aphelios first turret bonus on top of it. FlyQuest are sweating super hard here because they don't have the great mid to late game comeback set up for themselves, and TSM have been kind of running the early game as well with a lot of these outplays. Now with the added benefit of paranoia, kind of the only thing that FlyQuest are hanging their strategy on is the early Rift Heralds, number 2 acquired here to try and push deeper.
Okay, well, they will grab themselves that second Rift Herald. Hopefully they can find something with it because, man, after grabbing that tier 1 turret in the bottom lane, getting a 2-0 Drake lead early on, things are feeling really, really good here for TSM, and we're not seeing much of a fight back from FlyQuest. It's just TSM sort of doing as they please across the map. They're the ones making the plays. They're the ones trying to have something done. When FlyQuest does strike back, as you saw them trying to make the play up in the top side, TSM has the resources to avoid it because they haven't been pressured out of those yet.
I say Huni gets gold stars for this game because he has both played defensively when his team does not have pressure and is not able to support him. I wonder if this actual alcove play works out because Lost has double summoners.
Let's see. Tomo's just continuing to look juicy enough to maybe engage on, try to get the ulti out of him. Lost in SwordArt though, and they'll just clear the wave and they don't want to risk anything too extra here.
Yeah, no reason.
You don't want to be too extra.
You never want to be too extra, Flowers.
I've had people describe me like that before. I'm still going to take it as a compliment. I don't care. But here in LCS, here in League of Legends, you don't want to be too extra.
I feel like too extra is not needed, right? Because extra is already too much.
Exactly. You know, Huni is now going in. Maybe this is too much. He tries to get the kill on the enemy mid laner. Now he's going to be punished by the jungle as well. And triple with the proc on the chain takes him out.
All right, they get the chase down kill. They finally take down Huni at the cost of top lane pressure, but this is what FlyQuest need to do. They have to create some action here in the game, upset the balance from TSM running through their objectives, and with that Rift Herald, they definitely will be able to crash through mid, possibly pushing a bit deeper there. Honestly, Spica comes right back over though, cuts them off here, and it's going to be a very short-lived celebration for the FlyQuest side.
But hey, they have to make some good things happen, and that was a good sequence of events. Pick off the enemy top laner, get some value out of that Rift Herald there mid. Tier 1 mid lane turret is very important in terms of opening up the enemy side of the map and being able to play more in the jungle, play more forward, increase the vision line. So FlyQuest have that going for them. And we'll see here, though, we've got about 2 minutes until third Drake of the game spawns. It is Infernal, so Infernal Soul is a very scary proposition. If you let TSM get to that soul point, I am expecting FlyQuest to answer this.
Yeah, definitely Definitely looks in the cards. In this case, some excessive setup would actually be advised for them. No redundancy needed.
No, sir. Taking a look at the items and sort of where we're at here in the game. Gale Force done for the Xayah means that Tomo will have some extra avoidance capability as the Nocturne and the Rel and the Diana and all these champions try to dive onto him. You can see that Triple already working on some extra magic penetration here. And does FlyQuest want to try to commit to anything up here in the top side? You can see Triple getting things pushed out. TPs are ready across the board, it appears. PowerOfEvil, the only one not ready to go with that.
Yeah, it's interesting because you see FlyQuest, what they have with LeBlanc and Lee Sin, they still have possibilities for those surprise picks. But when you have lost out on early pressure, you then have to send your people up through the side lanes to remain in Fog of War because you know your opponents have been invading constantly into your jungle to put this vision. So if your opponents have vision line all through your own jungle, then you are then forced to kind of go through lane ganks to try and get up there behind the LeBlanc, and you see the attempts at pulling out those picks. And TSM are working around it because they've been able to eliminate so many possible areas that FlyQuest could be, that there's not a lot of surprise factor left.
Well, we've got about 40 seconds until that Drake spawns. FlyQuest doesn't have any bodies in the vicinity. It looks like they are willing to just potentially give this away. Instead, try to trade for some standing gold on the top half of the map, close that disparity in terms of the wealth between the two teams, and then maybe fight at 4th Drake later on. Triple will be the one taking the solo gold here in that top lane tier 1 turret. TSM in a position in case FlyQuest does anything risky to stop them.
FlyQuest are keeping their bottom lane up there. You see Tomo up there, or Tomo's in the river here, and you see the Diamonds looking for the dive instead of the dragon.
Okay, here they go. Not gonna find the grand entrance onto PowerOfEvil. Quickness also not being used successfully. FlyQuest are now overextended, and SwordArt is ready to punish. Triple will be the first one to die with PowerOfEvil cashing in. Realm Warp's coming to bring in the backup, and FlyQuest have committed the sin of overextension. TSM with the punish. Enemy jungler, enemy mid lane, both out of the picture. You smell that, Kobe? That smells like Baron to me.
And it smells so sweet. Flowers for TSM. Wearing purple is all but sealing up this game. And you have to review why FlyQuest would be willing to throw their cards in for a lower percentage play. It's because, again, the setup for this game, with the available win conditions that they had being dwindled down so much early, they're like, okay, well, maybe we got to all in on our split push. Send multiple people up there, try and push hard on these towers, get our gold, and open up the map, because we're not going to be able to win at the Dragon. But TSM, they don't let you have anything. They don't pick up the expected play of just marching towards Dragon with extra people. They defend on top side. PoE delays, buys times with his sidestepping into Zhonya's for the rest of the team to collapse. And guess what? You don't get to push further on the side lane. TSM will take the Baron. They'll give up this Dragon. They don't need to continue stacking it because now with the extra pushing pressure, they actually get to regain control of those side waves. PoE on the rise has been scaling up quite nicely for them. And all they have to do is bring the rest of the members. They're looking for a pick of their own.
LeBlanc is a slippery target, so this will be pretty difficult here. SwordArt and Lost instead just continuing to roam through the enemy jungle. And this TSM composition is very scary with a Baron, right? Ryze and Nocturne are both incredibly effective by themselves here in a side lane. The other three very capable of defending on their own. But TSM's not worried about a 1-3-1. It's more of a 4-1 approach here. As the 4 find their way into the top lane, they'll smash down that tier 2. Keeping that pressure alive. Triple's the only one up here answering right now, so FlyQuest is going to have to send more manpower. Otherwise, they risk losing even more.
Meanwhile, Huni does have Nocturne ultimate, so you can get pretty much all the way over to a bottom side of the fight if TSM just kite back a little bit and buy him some time. You see they're just delaying, letting Huni whittle down on this outer turret. He finishes up on the objective without any casualties.
And the gold lead just continues to climb.
Oh, that crying gold. Wow, we're so rich, Flowers. Oh, look at all
when
my
the gold
money.
lead's so big, you gotta cry about it. Feels good for TSM. Huni continues that push going on down here in mid lane. Tier 2 turret. You're not gonna die quite yet, but that's a lot of damage, a lot of pressure that TSM is keeping up here with this Baron buff.
Yeah, you know, money can't buy happiness, but it can buy vacations and jet skis.
It can buy
and
things that bring you
parties.
happiness afterwards. Xayah ulti comes out. Tomo's going to have one less powerful defensive tool now if the fight goes any further. SwordArt looking to disengage. Nice three-man knockup coming out from Rakan. That is a grand entrance indeed. TSM lose 2 immediately, and FlyQuest are going for more. SwordArt and Huni still trying to find some opportunity to fight. SwordArt's going to die. Huni picks up a couple here, so it's a 4 for 2. FlyQuest feeling good about this right now. Huni wants to get away. Tomo's still in hot pursuit. Fear Tether walked out of, so Kumo's not going to get hit by the proc on that. NXI continues going in. Now you've got a teleport showing up as well. They really want this kill onto the Nocturne. Triple with the flash forward. Pops the enemy spell shield to make sure the chain roots. Huni tries to survive here with the Gore Drinker. It took them forever, but they finally just beat him down.
Yeah, there's no objective on the map, Flowers, so there's nothing else to do. The only objective is take Huni's head.
Huni's the objective.
Congratulations, Huni. Now, where's our Huni buff? What do you get? What do you get after killing Huni?
After you kill Huni, you just get inspired to go for more PvP.
Hold on.
Yeah. You're ready to go. Let's take another look at the Bud Light Ace that they were able to get for the side of FlyQuest.
And this is a play born of desperation from FlyQuest. You're trapped inside your base, getting pushed in on all sides from TSM. You have to make the all-in play, and it works for them. So well initiated. We get to see the Irelia mini rework, I love the speed up here, in action as Kumo dives in. He's so tanky there on the late game Irelia, especially with this build too, with the Gore Drinker. Fully stacks the Conqueror. Right on the inside, they pick off the heart of TSM. Now they're looking to pick off more.
Okay, Spica very vulnerable here. The kick comes out. Now he's going to be chain CC'd. Enough damage to burst him down before he's able to do much. Huni now going to be stuck in the middle of 5. The Nocturne cannot survive very well here. They're going to pick him off next. Lost is your target, and he's got no protection. PowerOfEvil's getting ran down by the enemy Lee Sin, and NXI takes him out of the picture as well. FlyQuest surge to life. 4 for nothing.
They're most dangerous when you box them into a corner. Flowers. FlyQuest gonna fight their way out, and they're gonna do it in back-to-back team fights straight to the base of TSM.
FlyQuest are pushing real hard here. We have 12 seconds on Spica, and then another 10 for anyone else. It's SwordArt alone. He goes in to buy as much time as possible. He's only a support. He is going to die. Are we going to get back-to-back games of this in the LCS? Nexus turret number 1 is gone. Number 2 under pressure. Spica goes in. His goal is to just get time for everybody else, but time cannot be bought. FlyQuest with the comeback win. Take down TSM. The Academy squad is 4-0 on the LCS stage.
This is our only undefeated LCS team. It is these 5 players together, Flowers. They were pushed too hard. You pushed them all game. You pushed them right into their base. Baron knocking at your door. And guess what? They're going to take that Huni buff, and they ran it back for the victory.
That Diamonds Rakan engage in the top lane turned this game around. Because that's what enabled them to get that ace. And then afterwards, the pick onto Spica in the river that set up the subsequent fight. 2 fights back-to-back changed the entire game. Holy cow.
You gotta keep your wits about you in the end game. You make a play like that, death timers are long enough, FlyQuest, run it back.
Holy cow. Twice now. Same day. First, open up the weekend with 2 of these.
Oh my goodness. From 0-10 to 4-0, FlyQuest with the undefeated Academy team here, blowing up the LCS stage.
This is awesome to see. To see this squad. The idea of sending the entire LCS squad to Academy and bringing the entire Academy roster up to the LCS stage, that was bold. But it was bold and it worked. And it's so fun to watch these players take win after win after win after win. And just seriously, they must have the defibrillator ready to go. Just zap, zap. They brought this org back to life. They were on their deathbed, man. They were saying, all right, tell everybody I love them. We'll see you later. Zap. FlyQuest is ready again.
And they self-applied it too.
Yeah, somehow you're on the deathbed and you zap yourself, and now you're just 2 thumbs way up. Here's another look at that ending fight.
Oh, and this is the one that started with the pick. NXI finds him in the river. They kick Spica in. They take down the Diana, and the chase is through. Kumo on the left side, NXI on the right side. PoE gets hit with the Q. NXI finishes him off, and FlyQuest get to run it all the way through.
And you can see SwordArt did whatever he could, right? He's fallen back. There's no way to try to fight underneath one turret. He's seeing, oh, wait, hold on. They're pushing all the way in. He's only got one choice. He's got to try to go after the minion wave here. He does a little bit, not enough. There's not really much you can do in that situation. And then boom.
That's when you're the last one left alive in one of the Doomsday movies. You see everything crumbling around in front of you, Flowers. And FlyQuest, 5-hit on Nexus. That thing's over. I know you wanted to see the critical one, the one inside the base.
Yeah.
Where they're able to make their stand versus the Baroned up TSM and then chasing down Huni, basically delaying by the leapfrog of the death timer so that then Huni's way delayed and his getting back up.
Oh,
And they pull off the pick. What do you know? You never know until the Nexus explodes, okay? We're just going to keep on having these upsets again in the LCS.
Oh, it's been a great day so far, and we are only 2 games in. That's not even half. We're tossing to another break, but on the other side, the Tigress is talking with Diamond.